And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the SIgnposts Live here on Thursday. Sometimes it shifts between 8 a.m. and 9 a.m., just depends when I'm available. Hope you're all doing well. It's great to see so many people here on the chat, both on YouTube and on Rumble. So we're going to have a great webcast today because we're going to be doing viewer topics, right? So it's basically just the topics that you guys want to talk about. Let's try to keep the topics to current events, okay? I know there's some people that do want to talk about other things, but I try to keep this just a current events webcast. Again, on Wednesdays, you can tune into Wisdom Transmissions, and it's basically any particular topic you want to discuss. But for the signposts, it really is about current events. So first and foremost, we're going to go ahead and get started with announcements, and then we'll be getting started on viewer topics. So here we go.
Source Energy enhanced products to repair and rejuvenate the body. From the power of light to crystals to bed kits, card decks, and more. View our free samples, tutorials, and testimonials on our website, AetherX.co.
Imagine a technology that can rejuvenate the cells of your body and bring calmness to the mind. This technology is RAYD8 REGEN. Receive your free 1-hour session with us today by visiting our center in Langley, BC, Canada. Book online at RAYD8REGEN.com.
Get readings with Breanne and be astonished at the depth and accuracy she provides for you through her tarot readings. Breanne can create crystal grids for distance healing, plus offer Reiki and Kundalini attunements. She is also a certified Flying Star Feng Shui consultant. Visit Breanne's website and book your session today at readingswithbreanne.com.
Private one-to-one sessions have returned with Brad Johnson and Adronis, with appointment times from 30, 45, and 60 minutes online. Offline sessions including the 3 questions by email and distance healing are now available. Book your session now through our website, wisdomtransmissions.com.
And of course, we have RAYD8app.com. And through RAYD8app.com, you can download the free RAYD8 app. You can go either to the Apple Store or to Google Play. We have it online. We're currently in the works of getting the browser app completed as well too. So it should be ready here, I'd say probably within the next week or two. I'm going to be going to not Maui, sorry. I'm going to be going to Kauai, Hawaii, between June 9th and June 15th. So I will not be available, sorry, not June 9th. Let me go to my calendar just to make sure I have the accurate date. Yeah, it is. June 9th to June 15th, I'm going to be in Kauai. So I'll be away for that week, but when I come back, I would say it'll be around the time where we're going to be launching the browser app for RAYD8. So looking forward to launching the browser app, and what the browser app will do is it's going to make you have access to RAYD8 through your computer, through your laptop, through your smart TV, through pretty much any digital device altogether. So working together with the mobile app, it will be cross-compatible with each other. So you'll be able to use RAYD8 through the same accounts. So if you purchase a premium version of RAYD8 on your iPhone, for example, then you'll be able to log on through your Apple account onto the browser app and use the premium version there without having to pay for it again. Okay. And it's the same thing if you purchase the premium version on the browser app, then you can also go on your mobile device, again, either if you're using Google or if you're using Apple, and log in, and you won't have to pay for it a second time. The only time you have to pay for it twice is you have both a Google Play phone and an Apple Store, or an Android phone or an iPhone. So that's the only time that you'd have to pay for it twice, because those are two entirely different platforms. Other than that, if you're using one particular platform, you have a cross-compatible platform working together with both the RAYD8 mobile app and the RAYD8 browser app. So this is thanks again to many of you, because half of the amount of the funding to produce the RAYD8 browser came from you guys. So I really appreciate that. And we're nearly finished. We're now just starting to get it uploaded to the website. We still have to do some beta tests with it all together. But like I said, I think within the next couple of weeks, we'll be ready to go with the RAYD8 browser app. So in the meantime, go on to radiateapp.com, grab the app here on the Apple Store or on Google Play, and enjoy the experience. And again, you can use the free version for as long as you want. And if you're ready to upgrade, you can order the premium version there. And like I said, that will be cross-compatible with the browser app when it releases. All right. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started today with today's broadcast. Also, one thing I should mention is with AetherX.co, we have 35% off of the Taurus bed kits. Okay, so we have a twin size and we have a full size still available, and they're currently 35% off. So if you want to check that out, you can. Everything else on the website on AetherX.co is 22% off. So check that out. Those are incredible discounts, right? We got some incredible products there too as well. And new products are coming in this week. I'm going to show you guys one of them. This is the new product. So what this is the 3D printed light array. So what this is going to have, it's going to have an LED strip around here that's going to be encoded, and then you could put this on your wall. We also have a little stand that you can put it on as well too. So took me a few prototypes to get this right. So we finally have a working prototype, and this is what it'll look like. You'll have an LED strip here. You can plug it in through USB, and this is going to radiate the transcendental codes throughout your entire space, right? This will have a lot of RAYD8 technology in it. So this is going to be debuting here, I think either this week or next week. I'm thinking next week. And this is going to be an incredible feature for RAYD8. It is almost like an art piece. So again, we're working with sacred geometry. That sacred geometry is going to be radiating the frequencies, utilizing a light strip, and basically helping to radiate and amplify the transcendental codes that we put in here. So again, this is the newest product that's going to be coming through AetherX here very soon. That's within the next few days. So wanted to share that with you guys because I've had a few people ask me about that. What about this new wall array that's coming? That's the sophisticated wall array. So it's even much more powerful than the wooden wall arrays we have, because it's going to be majorly amped up and radiating a lot of the codes that you would find in RAYD8. So that's very exciting. Anyways, okay, that concludes the announcements. We're going to go ahead now and get started with today's broadcast. So I'm going to go into the comments. And like I said, if you guys do have any priority questions, if you want to use, if you want to have a priority, be in priority in line, then you can basically use a donation-based chat that is available on both Rumble and YouTube. You can have your question donation-based, and that will put you in priority sequence. All right. I'm still waking up, guys, so give me a little bit, you got to give me a minute or two just to get myself focused here. I only woke up like an hour and a half ago, so I still have to drink down my smoothie. Gets me some energy. All right, let's get started here. Okay, I'm going to start off with Carol Ann. Carol Ann says, hello, Brad. Can you please look into the cards? I keep hearing we're supposed to be going into a mini ice age within the next couple of years. Thank you. Okay. So like I said, I'll let the cards speak for themselves first, and then I'll follow up. Okay. And I know, Carol Ann, I've heard a lot of that from people too as well, about another ice age coming. But let's take a look and see what the cards have to say, first and foremost. Okay, so what I'm getting here, I know there's a lot of people afraid of feeling that there is an ice age coming, right? There's a lot of, again, a lot of fear, a lot of propaganda, especially on the internet nowadays. Like I've said, a lot of fear, a lot of propaganda surrounding that, but I'm not seeing it. I'm not really seeing it at all. I'm seeing that the idea that there's going to be scarcity tactics. I'm not saying that that was not an agenda down the road, or I'd say it was a planned agenda that they were certainly looking to cultivate down the road, but I don't feel like they're going to be able to do it. No, I don't see an ice age coming. Of course, we've had movies depicting that, about another ice age and all that stuff. Another ice age really would not come for at least another hundreds or maybe thousands of years. It is certainly not in the short term here, right? I'm not discounting that there will never be another ice age again on the planet. There probably will be, but I significantly doubt it's going to be in our lifetime. Now, what a lot of people get behind is thinking, well, Brad, if the polar ice caps melt, maybe it won't be an ice age, but there'll be a global flood with polar ice caps melting and water levels will raise up anywhere from 50 feet to 200 feet. Guys, that's a bunch of crap. No. Our planet has had history where there has not been any polar ice caps at all. And water levels never increased 50 feet to 200 feet. At most, maybe a couple of feet. That's about it. But there's never been anything from what I have personally foreseen. And I'm just looking at my own experiences because I always look into these things internally and see that. And I've constantly gotten this reminder even since 2009, right? Since 2009, I've gotten a lot of reminders from people and saying, oh, what about these big floods? What about an ice age and all that stuff? Well, first of all, an ice age would not be a natural phenomenon if it was coming short term. It would be an engineered phenomenon. And I don't see that happening. And again, if polar ice caps are melting, if the ice caps of the north are melting, if the ice caps of the south are melting, that it's going to cause a global flood, that it's going to basically raise water levels to 100 to 200 feet. It's not something that Al Gore was talking about, right, with an inconvenient truth. And so many scientists were also debunking his BS theories, right? That's not how it works, right? When you basically have polar ice caps, the experiment you can do is if you have a glass of water and you have two big ice cubes, and you put those two big ice cubes in the glass of water and you leave it out overnight, and then the ice cubes melt, and I want you to measure the glass with a ruler. You'll notice that water levels do not build, right? If you're looking at a glass of water, two big ice cubes, putting the two big ice cubes in, so when you're putting the two big ice cubes in, that's when the water levels rise, right? But overnight, when those ice cubes melt, you check the ruler, and you notice that the water level, when those ice cubes are put in, remain the same, okay? It's the exact same thing. You have ice cubes floating in the middle of an ocean, and their weight itself is basically what was causing the weight of the water as it is. As it melts, it does not increase water level. This is something that we should be learning back in elementary school, and people are afraid, thinking that if we see polar ice caps melting, well then, oh my goodness, we're going to have a big flood and things are going up 200 feet. That is complete stupidness. I mean, this is something that we've done in experiments with back in elementary school. I mean, I certainly did. So, I mean, looking into those things about how ice melts and the water levels and all that, I learned that back in like grade 5 science class, right? So No, that's not at all how it works, right? I've been able to look into timelines where there really are no ice caps whatsoever. There's no icebergs, there's no ice sheets. The Earth is still completely and totally intact. What happens is, again, people get paranoid and they start looking at this bogus science, thinking that this is going to raise the water levels 200 feet just because the ice caps are melting. No, doesn't work that way, okay? So I've not seen anything in regards to, number one, an ice age, or number two, polar ice caps melting, right? So this again involves discernment, right? Again, a lot of people are afraid about a mini ice age coming or an ice age happening, and I don't see that happening, right? There's a lot of debate happening. There's a lot of, I'm sure there's a lot more fighting about an ice age rather than an actual ice age happening. And so it feels like in the near future, we're clear. We are clear with that. It's interesting because there's ice here in the background. But again, it looks like we're in the sun. We're celebrating, right? So as far as an ice age goes, I'm not getting anything like that whatsoever, okay? So this just requires, in that sense, looking a little bit more into discernment, resting on the idea, rejuvenating on the idea humanity is going to go on. Believe me, guys, if we had an ice age, that would wipe out a great deal of people on the planet. Like I said, that certainly was a plan in the past for a lot of the corrupt to consider about trying to create some type of engineered ice age. Because if you did have an ice age during this time, it would be engineered. It would not be natural whatsoever. It would be an engineered phenomena, and I don't feel that they have the capability to do that right now. They're losing more and more capability each and every single day. Right? It's like where people talk about the alien hoax invasion, right? There's the idea of a hoax invasion, that was supposed to happen. I was even looking at times to where it could possibly even move into the timeline, and it hasn't, right? So I'm not getting anything of that either, really, with the idea of a hoax alien invasion, or with the idea of global floods, or with the idea of an ice age engineered, okay? So that's what I'm getting, Carol Ann. Okay, I'm not getting anything like that. Like I said, I'm not dismissing the idea of an ice age happening at some particular point, but I would say that's hundreds or even thousands of years away if anything like that tried to occur. Okay, that would, the only idea I could think of with an ice age is if there is something on a polar level that is tremendously shifting that would basically create a breach of some kind. But I don't see that happening in our lifetime, not at all. All right. So that's what the cards are giving me, and that's what I'm basically following up with, because I have not seen anything pertaining to an ice age or global flood or anything of that nature. Okay, thanks for your question. Okay, let's go to Peace Gem Music. Peace Gem Music says, question, is NATO going to attack Russia? U.S. has been stalking Finland and Sweden with arms and building army bases there. Thanks. No. I would say that if anything, NATO would be scared to death of Russia, right? Because if they tried to attack Russia, they would lose, right? If we're looking at the idea of the statistics, not even just the statistics, but even looking at it intuitively, if any country really wanted to threaten Russia and attack them, they would not live to tell about it. Simple as that. Russia's resources are vast, right? They also have alliances with other countries as well, too, and they would squash NATO like a bug. And NATO is not, Russia is not really going to play that game, right? Basically, I think what the Russian tactic in that sense is, it's going to be about exposure. It's about getting a lot more countries on their side. This is where I've talked about, and a lot of people will give me slack because of this. And so Brad must be sleeping with the Russians or something like that. I say, guys, I'm only telling you like it is, right? This is exactly how it is that Russia itself is basically getting a lot more allies. There is a much more larger alliance that is part of a Russian coalition than we may be aware of. NATO is like a little puny ant standing in front of an elephant, right? So if an ant is going to try and wage war with an elephant, well, the elephant is going to squash the ant. Simple as that, right? So no, I'm not getting that feeling, but let's go ahead and take a look at the cards and we'll see about that, okay? So U.S. has been stalking Finland and Sweden with arms and building army bases there. Guys, that's not even through their official military. What they have been stalking is they've been stalking with mercenary groups. They've been stalking with proxy armies, not the official armies. Okay, the official armies of Finland and Sweden really want nothing to do with the U.S. The stockpile of weapons is going to rebels. It is going to proxy armies. It is going to, kind of like the ISIS equivalent of what's in Finland and Sweden. They're basically filling up their criminal buddies, their criminal cartels with weapons, not the official army. Okay, that's something, again, mainstream media won't tell you. So that, again, is something to look at. Let's take a look at that. Let's just ask a simple question. Is NATO going to attack Russia? Okay, let's see what the cards say about that. Whenever you're seeing stockpiling of weapons, guys, it's not because they're working efficiently with Finland and Sweden on official channels. Finland and Sweden really want nothing to do with them on official channels. This is feeding rebellions. This is feeding proxy armies. That's what's going on. Okay, let's take a look at that question then. Is NATO going to attack Russia? Pardon my throat here a minute. Again, it's telling you guys you need to discern here because you're getting a lot of disinformation about this whole ordeal. And that's the first card that pops up, actually, which I'll show here in just a second. This is my discernment card. You need to discern past the BS. Okay? So a lot of places, a lot of news agencies, so-called news agencies, may be saying that, oh, looks like they're stockpiling weapons, look like they're ready to attack Russia. Guys, they would get squashed like a bug if they ever tried to attack Russia. The U.S., again, I'm talking about the criminal cartels. The criminal cartels are scared to death of Russia. And the only thing they're trying to do is just try to bully other countries to try and support them, to try and create an army big enough to attack Russia, but it's not going to work. Russia has so much alliance with it. There is so much more resources. It is a giant, right? It's like looking at a 100-foot giant compared to this, again, little bug on the ground, right? That bug is going to get squashed, okay? This is also saying do your research a little bit more because that's not what's happening, right? It is not the idea that NATO is going to attack Russia. NATO is nothing more than an invention, guys. It's an invention of the criminal cartels. NATO is not even a legitimate agency, right? That's something else you can look up. NATO is nothing more than a proxy so-called agency for criminal cartels of the world. It really has no form of authority altogether. Guys, it's another Hollywood special effect soundstage that you're looking at when you're looking at NATO. The same thing can be said about NASA. Same thing can be said about the current presidency of the United States with the White House, the so-called White House. Soundstage, soundstage, soundstage. Garbage, three-ring circus, nonsense. These are things that are put together to entertain the public, to basically get the normies to look at things as if something is actually going on, when in fact nothing is going on, and they're wasting your time watching this stupid three-ring circus. NATO is nothing more than a puppet agency. It's made with strings, it's made with pieces of wood, and it's put together, and it is, again, another proxy creation by criminal cartels, right? Just trying to get certain countries together to basically create this bullshit organization. The same thing goes with the UN. The same thing goes with the WHO. Three-ring circuses, just like that. These are not even legitimate agencies. These agencies have basically been ripped apart and torn down from behind the scenes, and all that's left is a puppeteering image of them in front of the scenes to make it look like they're still valid or they still actually have something. None of them are real, right, guys? You're wasting time watching these things, thinking that things are going to happen in front of the scenes. If you guys are buying a lot of the stuff in front of the scenes, then this is what needs to happen with you. You need to look inside here and say that what's happening in front of the scenes, guys, is the watered down, diluted, three-ring circus soap opera that really has dramatized certain things that have already taken place. Behind the scenes, it's a very different story. Behind the scenes, NATO doesn't even really have any legitimacy. Behind the scenes, WHO really has no legitimacy. Behind the scenes, the United States presidency under the Biden administration really has no legitimacy. Many governments in front of the scenes has no legitimacy. This is a sound stage. This is a three-ring circus that's happening. And again, they're basically putting these things on because, I mean, really, how long have they been planning to attack Russia? I think we could probably even go back, to the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s. Here we are now in the 2020s. They've talked about it for decades. Have they done it? No, because they're scared to death of Russia. They are completely in fear of them because they know Russia could squash them like a bug. And so what they're doing is they're working with propaganda. They're working with psychology here, right? They're trying to use psychological warfare to try and get many of the countries against the world to turn against Russia because that's what they would need. Russia basically is the super force of the world. So that's a fact, right? Russia is also in good alignment with China, right? So you have Russia and China. You also have connections with India as well, too. You have also connections with Brazil, right? You have the BRICS alliance, for example. That BRICS alliance is really Russian-led. So you have these powerful countries all coming together under an umbrella, and you think NATO is going to be a threat to them? No, 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 no. And like I said, there's going to be a lot more distrust that is being brought forward through other countries pertaining to the United States and any of these other G5, G7 countries in that sense. They're nothing. They're, again, just ants trying to attack an elephant's hoof. It's not going to work. But or an elephant's foot, right? It's just not going to work. They're going to get stomped out. So I would not really consider anything regarding what you're being told about the idea of NATO trying to attack Russia. And guys, you're not going to find that in front of the scenes. Come on, right? Everything that is happening in front of the scenes has been a sanitized, watered down, diluted scenario of things that are exaggerating what's really happening behind the scenes, because behind the scenes, a lot more stuff is happening that's actually a lot more legitimate. And the truth is, a lot of countries are favoring the side of Russia and not NATO. NATO is an orchestration. It is a play tool. It is a three-ring circus. It is a soap opera. And what you're seeing in front of the scenes, guys, as I've said thousands of times over, is a soap opera. And it's not real, right? I don't know how many times I got to say that. But it's the truth. It's just what I keep getting, right? Even in the past here, this still looks like a stage thing. This looks like something that's just a stage. It's just something that's continuing to move on. It's keeping people distracted. It's exaggerating from actually what's going on behind the scenes. And behind the scenes, everything pertaining to the criminal cartels are getting trampled over, right? If I was to hold up the death card, and that would probably be the most accurate thing about what's happening behind the scenes. In fact, why don't we go ahead and look at that right now, right? So this, again, is the whole situation together with NATO and Russia. So like I said, Russia is building alliances with many other countries. A lot more countries are in favor with Russia than they are with, the typical brainwashed NATO countries, okay? So I do not see any war starting between Russia and NATO at all. Because like I said, guys, you are looking at a three-ring circus and nothing else. And I keep telling you that, guys, because that's what I'm getting. I'm getting constantly, not just through my own intuition. It's what I'm getting through the cards. It's what I'm seeing behind the scenes as well, too. It's like, guys, what you see in front of the scenes is not at all accurate about what's happening behind the scenes, right? You tune in. You look into yourself. You see this, and you say, show me the world. Show me what's happening behind the scenes. Remember I told you about the one breath, right? You work with the one breath and out. You come into your center and you go into the center and you say, show me what's really happening behind the scenes. Wow, this is a very different story than what's being peddled in front of the scenes. A lot of countries are working together to squash out the criminal cartels in their own countries. Wow, this is what's really happening. Well, but the front side of the news says, that they're stockpiling weapons. And Finland and Sweden are going to try and go to war with Russia. Nope. Nope, you guys are being fed bullshit. It's basically what's happening here. So where did you hear that? Did you hear that on CNN? Did you hear that on MSNBC? Did you hear that with some bogus internet reporter? Because they're lying to you, basically. It's not to say that weapons aren't happening, but they're being fed to criminal cartels. They're being fed to proxy agents. They are not being fed to the official channels of Finland and Sweden. They are being used in the black market. That's what's taking place. But it's still going to lead to failure. They're basically going to get trampled out. If we're looking at candles across the planet where a lot of these criminal cartels are, perceiving them as candles, you're watching every single one of them about get snuffed out. You are watching the criminal cartels of the world die. That's what's happening. That is what's happening behind the scenes. What's happening in front of the scenes is the complete and total opposite. Giving you the impression that this is a long drug-out process and that NATO is involved and that the WHO is involved with this. And guys, you're being fed so much bullshit. Like so much. It's poison, it's toxicity, it's lies, it's deceit. And like I said, guys, what you read on the internet and what you see on MSN is 90 to 95% crap. That's what you're being fed. And this is why so many people are being afraid because of what they're turning on. They're turning on their TVs, they're going to these internet sites, and they're saying, oh, this is happening, all this is happening. And all these people that are reporting are getting suckered into the in front of the scenes, three-ring circus BS crap, right? Because that's what it is. It's a bunch of stupid crap. And you're wasting your time looking at this stuff, thinking that something horrible is going to happen and Russia is going to go into world war with people. No, guys. That is not what's happening. If that was the case, that would have been something that happened quite a long time ago. Russia is not doing that. Russia, China, and many other allied forces are basically devoting their resources to go into countries and to snuff out these flames of criminal cartels. That's what Ukraine was all about. Ukraine's criminal underworld was being squashed flat. That's what was happening. That's why Russian troops were going in there. It is cleaning out the criminal cartels. Why do you think you have all of these well-known criminal celebrities, you could say, basically trying to support the Ukraine? Because their own beloved little empire is getting squashed to dust. And it's going to happen to any other country that is harboring cartels like that. They're going to go in and they're going to snuff out the cartel flame. Just like that. And it's going to be done. And sometimes I think they will just be working with the countries. They'll basically have joint task force. And they'll come together. They'll snuff out where these criminal cartels are. Gone. That is what's happening on the planet. Every particular remnant that represents the criminal cartels, the Khazarian mafia, mafias, cartels, proxy armies, etc., are basically being snuffed out. And what does the mainstream media do? Well, they got to protect their investors. They got to protect their greedy investors. And they got to make it look like Russia is the ultimate bully. They got to make it look like these alliance countries are the ultimate bullies of the entire planet, and try to get countries to rally against this unstoppable bully that Russia is. And that's a bunch of stupidness. And you're falling for the trans-hypnotic programming, right? And I've said this many times before, guys, and I'm not just talking to any particular one person. I'm talking to the entire audience that's watching this right now. If you guys think that what you're tuning into in front of the scenes is what's really happening on the planet, you need to wake up, because you are being deluded. You are being distorted by a three-ring circus ordeal, as I've talked about for years, and it hasn't changed, right? That is not the way to live your life, about looking into these things in front of the scenes. And if you really want to know what's happening behind the scenes, you got to tune in. You got to look into these things. You got to look into the people who are able to look into the behind the scenes, and being able to utilize that as a starting point, and being able to tune into yourself, guys. It's very simple to tune into these things. It's not difficult at all. So far, I don't really know anybody who's accurately tuning in as a reporter of what's happening behind the scenes. There may be some people that are kind of close to that, but I don't really have anybody. I'd say other than some certain readers, right? Someone like Janine, right? Someone like Isabella, okay? Tarot by Janine, Tarot by Isabella. right? They are certainly reporting certain things behind the scenes quite accurately. Not 100%, but quite a bit, right? I'm not even saying that all my stuff 100% is accurate, but doing what I can because things always change very, very quickly. But we do what we can, but I commend those particular people because they're actually going within and they're looking at things behind the scenes rather than getting scared about all this hoopla of the three-ring circus in front of the scenes, where, guys, it's giving you unnecessary fear. You need to purge that. That's not going to help you, right? Again, if we think that we need to hold on by the skin of our teeth by looking at what agencies are telling you, whether it's news, whether it's internet, whether it's experts or anything of that nature, about what the state of the world is, that is unnecessary garbage that you're putting into yourself. And it's best to throw all that away, right? That's the key here. Anyways, Peach Gem Music, thanks for your question. Okay. All right. Now, this is not really a current event question, but it is something that's kind of genuine. So this is another one from Peach Gem. Many so-called 5D experts are claiming that the karma grid has been broken. No, the guys... This is not for you, Peach Gem Music. This is for the people that are saying that, okay? It is not a karma grid that is being broken, guys. This is a bunch of new age bullshit again, right? This is why I'm double palming this. Like, okay, where do I even begin? Because that statement is so wrong, Peace Gem Music. Because I know it's not your statement; it's what you're reporting, and I get that. It shocks me how ridiculous these statements are from people. They have no idea what's going on, and they make shit up. Because that's exactly what that statement is. It's made up BS. Okay? No, it is not about a karma grid. Oh my God. Okay. I have to like assort myself here, guys. This is ridiculous. Bear with me. Bear with me, okay? It is not about a karma grid. It is not about the idea that you're picking up stones and throwing it at a karma grid, and all of a sudden the karma grid is going to break down, and oh my goodness, we're all forgiven for our sins. And it's no more different than going to a Christian church and being told about the rapture. It's no more different than going to a Christian church and thinking that you need an outside Messiah to save yourself, right? That's the same kind of whacked out, diluted BS that we're seeing right here, okay? That is not how it works, okay? A karma grid being broken so that you can't have any more karma. So what does that mean? Do you get frozen in time? Guys, do we even know what karma means? And this would be the people who are making these claims. Do you guys even know what karma means? Karma is your action. It's action. So if we break a karma grid, what happens? Do we turn into this? We get frozen. This is what I'm talking about, guys, is there's so much stupidness regarding these claims because people are not doing. My apologies if I offend anybody, but with all due respect, it's stupidness. Because, again, people don't know what they're talking about. There is this incredible ignorance and these incredible foolish claims about thinking that a karma grid is being broken. Okay? There's no karma grid being broken. Karma is your actions, right? This is the whole idea of them trying to fill you guys with so much BS hopium. Oh, we break a karma grid, guys. We don't have to do anything right now. Oh, celebrate. Hopium, 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 hopium. You're getting high off hopium. And that's the garbage that so many of these new age neo-Advaitin charlatans are basically spewing to you guys. And I'm hoping you guys aren't taking it seriously, right? This is poison. This is absolute poison. And people filling you with such hopium garbage, right? That is not how it works, right? Your karma is your own, right? Your karma is a body. That's like saying, okay, well, we're just going to go ahead and eliminate all the subtle bodies, so what's left is the physical body. Ha, 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 ha. It's as stupid as saying that, right? It has nothing to do with the idea of a karmic grid. So I'm not going to go off on a tangent with it, guys, because believe me, I would. And if I found someone who was claiming that, I would be tearing them a new asshole right now. But that's just how I work, guys. I'm very blunt. What can I say? But no, that's not how it works at all. Okay, so that is completely and totally inaccurate. Your own karma is based upon yourself. The actions that you make in life will stay, and they will continue to stay until there is new actions that come in to correct them. You don't have a grid that's around the entire planet. As soon as we take down that grid, nobody has any more karma anymore. Ha, 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 ha. And I'm part of the Moron Alliance. Ha, 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 ha. No offense, guys, but that's really how I see it. It's just, it is so stupid. It is so stupid. It is so ignorant. It is so idiotic that someone even claims that, right? It's ridiculous. So, guys, with all respect, from my perspective, that is one of the most idiotic statements I've ever heard. Okay? And that is not how it works. Your karma is your actions. What you put forward through your actions, whether it be something that you feel is favored or something that you know you need to correct, well, therefore, your karmic actions that you're bringing forward now works as corrections to resolve that. That's as dumb as a lot of churchgoers saying that Jesus died for your sins, which is a bunch of stupidness because he didn't. Okay? Nobody can die for your sins. Okay? There's no karmic grid that has come down and broken so that you guys are just free and la-di-da, and then you're just frozen in time like a caveman in the ice, right? It's stupidness. It's ridiculous. Everything that represents your karma has been your responsibility that you have committed to, and if you wish to correct it, you're bringing about new karma to correct it. Karma is just action. That's all it means. So I'm going to leave it at that before I tear somebody a new asshole here. So anyways, Peach Jim, like I said, I know it's not you. This is just something that you're reporting to me. I appreciate that you reported that to me because it's one of the stupidest things I ever heard. All right. So anyways, thanks for sharing that. Okay. I'm like, just, okay, find me the person. I'm going to ring them out. Okay. Because I do, honestly, guys, I do get upset when I hear things like that. I get upset because I see so many people favoring these things that they think is the truth from some so-called expert when they are filling you with so much crap, right? And that honestly rubs me the wrong way. And I see people doing that and it drives me crazy. Okay, don't worry, guys, I do my surrendering work afterwards. But that really does drive me crazy. When I see a bunch of this bullshit stuff that is coming out on the internet with these people who think they are experts and they don't know a damn thing. They don't, right? And all I can say, guys, is please be discerning. Please have your BS-o-meters on because you're going to be covered with a wave of crap, okay? 95% of the garbage that you see online is just that. It's garbage, it's crap, it's no good, right? The best form of information you can get is in here. And this is what you have to trust. Don't trust me. Don't trust anybody else. Get your information from here. If what I say on here resonates with you, well, that's great. Fantastic. I'm glad it does. If it doesn't, hey, that's okay too, right? You can turn me off. I am never, ever going to subscribe and saying, guys, that what I say is 100% as is, and you better follow me and all this other stuff. I'm never going to say that, right? As I've always said, everything I share is my perspective, my point of view, right? It is never the idea that it's the gospel. But I see a lot of these people who act like their stuff is the gospel. Let's take down a karmic 5D grid. Ha, 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 ha. And they're acting like that's the gospel. It's a bunch of stupidness, right? So like I said, it's unbelievable garbage that people are putting in and trying to convince you 100% that what they have is the truth when they're not even close to it. They don't even know what the truth is. And it's garbage. It's ridiculous to see, but unfortunately, we're going to have a lot more of that crap in the times ahead. So please, guys, put your discernment helmets on, right? I'm not going to say the tinfoil hats, okay? But just have your BSO-meters inside your heart on because your heart will tell you right away, guys, this is garbage. Don't listen to it, right? Follow your heart. And all I can do is give you guys perspective. Nothing of what I say is ever a gospel. Okay? Okay, let's take a look at this one here from Fiona. Fiona says, "Hi, Brad. British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has called for a snap election on July 4th. Could you give some insight to this, please?" Yes, we will take a look at Rishi Sunak's call for a snap election. So let's say, will a snap election happen in that time of July? Let's see. Right on Independence Day in the States, too. Interesting. You see, the whole idea is they can call for a snap election, but what's called for and what's applied are two different things. So that's what we can look into. Let's take a look. Okay. So, got to take a minute here, guys. So again, there is something here in good faith pertaining to a snap election. Okay. But I feel like there's another agenda behind it. Okay. I feel like there's a call for a snap election, but I think this is leading to another particular type of agenda. I would say that there will be something in regards to perhaps elections that may come about that would be a snap election on July 4th. So it does feel like it's a good possibility, but I feel like there's an agenda behind this, right? There's something else being painted behind the scenes, right? I feel like this is just a cover. This is a cover for something else that's going to go down in July, because I think it may be a cleanup, okay? That's kind of what I'm getting here. This may actually relate to a cleanup, and that a snap election is just being an apropos coup d'etat to a very big cleanup that's going to be happening within British Parliament, okay? So I feel like the politics within the UK are going to be going through a big cleaning, a big cleansing taking place, right? The advice here, okay, this is kind of interesting, right? So we have these two particular cards, confusion and kind of waiting it out a little bit, okay? So I feel like something is basically going down. I feel like there's basically been a lot of infiltration happening behind the scenes within the United Kingdom government, and I feel like it's just basically a point of cracking down on it, right? So I'm also just pulling this extra card as well too. So here we go again with the Queen of Cups, okay? And again, this feels like there's going to be perhaps some significant changes to rulership that I feel may be taking place, right? An emotional turnover. So it's going to be very interesting for the summertime with the UK and dealing with the governments there, because I feel like they're going to be going through a major cleanup, especially since they've already apprehended the royal families. And I feel like there's going to be a really big coup d'etat that's happening that's going to take out a lot more of the riffraff in the background that represented associations to those royal families or to the royal family itself. But again, with pretty much all royal families on the planet, they've pretty much been apprehended already, right? Like I said, guys, you don't have to take my word for it. You look into this yourself. All I'm doing is giving you a perspective, right? You never have to believe a single word I say. Like I said, what I share resonates with you, great. If it doesn't, that's okay too. Please look into this yourself. Please do your own research, okay? I'm only just telling you what I've gotten. So that's what I feel. I feel like there's a cracking down. I feel like there's a cleanup, a very big cleanup that's going to be happening in July, and a snap election would be a very good cover for that. But a cover, like I said, what's happening in front of the scenes does not warrant what's happening behind the scenes. What's happening behind the scenes, if you guys tuned in to what's happening behind the scenes, you would be celebrating. You would be celebrating and saying, oh my goodness, this is incredible, right? A lot of things are happening behind the curtain, right? And if you guys got a glimpse of what's happening behind the curtain, you would be in awe. You would see all these criminal cartels being busted. You would see children going free. You would see these children who have been in vaults, who have been in cages, and they're being busted over, they're being busted free, and they're being returned to their families, and they're getting care, right? That's what's happening. You would see a lot of people who are traffic victims getting freed, right? You would see a lot of people who are responsible for this basically being prosecuted and basically having tribunals, secret military tribunals, to hundreds of them, perhaps even thousands, that are basically getting the hand of justice upon them, right? That's what's happening behind the scenes. That's what's really happening. You would see a lot of these candles that represent the criminal cartels getting snuffed out. That's what's really happening. You would see all these particular forms of news agencies that are trying to cover up for their greedy investors, looking at many of these cartels basically being overhauled, right? That's what's happening. You would see these laboratories underground basically being cleaned out. You would see these deep underground military bases where they're doing these inhuman experiments being completely and totally nullified, being completely and totally sanitized, cleaned out. That's what you'd be seeing behind the scenes. You would see a lot of these Satanists being taken out of commission. You would see a lot of them losing their power. You would find secret laboratories being kept inside churches, underneath churches, right? It's grotesque. It is absolutely grotesque of what we have allowed to have happen on this planet, because if you guys had one glimpse of what was happening behind the scenes, you would be in shock and awe, right? Whatever you're being fed through the garbage of the sanitation committees in front of the scenes is so incredibly watered down, right? This was pure juice, and you're only probably getting about 0.1 of the pure juice in front of the scenes, because it's garbage, guys. I look into these things, I see exactly what they're doing, and it's great to see these crackdowns happening. But at the same time, it is absolutely revolting of what we have seen humanity become, because these guys are not even human. They may wear human bodies, but they are not human at all. There is nothing humane about what they have done. They are willing to do absolutely everything. They have already sold out their soul. They will prey on children. They will prey on innocent people. They will make people's lives absolutely miserable just so that they can maintain their empire. It is the sickest of the sick. It is the most twisted of the twisted of what's happened behind the scenes. And many of those people that you see in front of the scenes that are defending all these actions are just players, but they're middle management. They're middle patsies. Even a lot of them don't even know what's happening behind the scenes. They are so fundamentally in belief of what they're doing in front of the scenes as if it's a major role, when it's not, right? It's barely a minor role in this movie. But that's the whole idea. There's a lot of stuff happening behind the scenes, but the good news is a lot of that horrible stuff is being cracked down on. Like I said, you are looking at thousands upon thousands of children getting rescued. You're looking at thousands and thousands of people who have been part of child trafficking and human trafficking that are being rescued. That's what's happening. You're starting to see new innovations of technologies coming together that will clean up this planet very, very quickly, and is going to be rolling out here within the next year or two, I'd say, right? The idea of new innovations to clean up the air, to clean up the water, to get the metals out of the air, to get all of that stuff is coming, right? There are already plans in attempting to make this happen, right? But basically being able to give it legitimacy through channels so that this can play together with the continuity of how we live life. We can't just suddenly say, oh, here's this big, gigantic, superb, massive engine that'll do all this stuff. Well, where did that come from, right? It needs to work together through transition. It needs to make sense. But all of these things are coming, right? The idea of oxygen rejuvenators, the idea of water purifiers, the idea of, again, cleaning up the air, cleaning up the water, cleaning up the land, getting the metals out of the air, getting the metals out of the ground. All of this technology we have, right? Like I said, I work with Bioscalar, with RAYD8, right? And I'd be more than happy to work together with other people who have Bioscalar knowledge. So far, nobody has approached me about that, right? And I'm more than happy to do it. Like, I've developed Bioscalar myself through spiritual technology. I'd be more than happy to incorporate my work together with another person who has Bioscalar technology, biomagnetic light, right? Nobody's approached me. Nobody said, hey, Brad, I checked out what you were saying on that broadcast. And hey, you know what? I do Bioscalar as well. So, oh, great. Let's meet. Let's talk. Let's build something together. Let's see what we can do in scale to see what we can do to transform things around. Nobody's come to me, right? I don't know if a lot of people check out my program or what, but like I said, I am absolutely open to talking to people who are also skilled with Bioscalar, working with scalar technology, working with technology that will help the planet. And if we want to basically put our heads together and start making something colossal and phenomenal and start getting big people's attention about this, I am 100% game for that, right? Ask around, guys. Let's see. I'm open to it. Is anybody else? Let's see. Let's see how things go down the road. Okay, let's move on now. Okay, that's an interesting question here from Julie. Julie says, hi, Brad. What are they going to do with all the gold that was taken from the Vatican? All right, well, let's take a look at the cards and see what happens there. Are we sure all the gold was taken from the Vatican? Are we absolutely sure about that? So that's, again, like I said, guys, what you read and what's actually happening are two different things. Let's take a look, though, and see what the cards are saying about the Vatican. Was gold taken from the Vatican? And if so, what is going to be done with it? All right, let's take a look. Okay. Well, it looks like good things. Very good things. I'm not really seeing any bad cards here whatsoever. I think that that's going to be utilized to fund a new economic system. Okay. Feels like something has been retrieved from the Vatican. It feels like some vaults have been, I can't say if 100% of all of it has been taken, but it feels like some has. Okay. And it feels like it is going to be put into possession of something new, right? This is also representing my new card, right? The idea of a new system coming together, something of a new idea, a new innovation, a new material concept is coming together. And of course, we're seeing the golden coin, right? So that kind of represents a bit of a confirmation right there. It feels like it's been taken out of devilish hands and it's going to be made into something new, okay? And I feel like that is going to be enough to perhaps power a brand new economic system. And I think it may already be added to the blueprint they already have of the economic system because, guys, this economic system should have been rolled out years ago. And like I said, just when they're about to push and make it happen, something gets in their way, right? And I think this is exactly why they need to have a criminal cartel cleanup, because every time they try to roll out the new system, it's like this car just pushes right in front of, oh, stop, right? So there's been a lot of halts. But like I said, I'd say even going back to like the 2000s, they were trying to push for these new economic systems coming together. Something that may be gold-backed, something, again, that will be much more of an open source type of financial system. And that this has been held back constantly, because criminal cartels will do everything in their power to basically push down a pillar and break and just hold that particular train at bay while it was about to leave the station, okay? So whatever's happened pertaining with the Vatican, it's going to lead into something really, really good. And we're going to see that here in the near future, okay? Something really, really good is done. So this tells me this is a counterforce effort that I feel like maybe the counterforce has come in. Like I said, I can't guarantee that they've taken all of the gold, but they have taken enough of the gold to basically get started. This is something really, really good, okay? So my guess is that they broke into the Vatican. They took a lot of the gold out of it, and it's being used for better means. They're no longer letting the hordes of the Vatican hold on to this gold when this gold isn't really theirs to begin with. The Vatican basically stole a lot of this gold over the centuries, right? A lot of the treasures that are contained in the Vatican basically came through blood connections, right? You could say it's like blood money. It's blood value, right? And so basically they're taking that from them, cleaning it up, and putting it towards something good. It may represent humanitarian efforts. It, again, may represent a brand new economic system. It's going to represent, again, enough resources to basically jumpstart a new campaign for a financial system. That's kind of the feeling I'm getting. So yes, I would say that's quite good. But like I said, I just can't guarantee that they've taken everything from the Vatican, but they're certainly taking enough to start something huge. And these are like all beneficial cards here. So something really good is going to be coming out of that very, very soon. Okay, great question, Julie. Thank you for that. All right, let's move on. How are we doing on time here? Okay, we'll probably take about 3 or 4 more questions, I'd say. All right. This one here is from Alina. Elena says, Brad, is it possible that the financial system will have soon a complete overhaul that changes things to a more positive outcome for people? Very interesting timing that you put that forward, just below Julie's question as well, too. Well, that's exactly what I'm seeing here with the Vatican, okay? With the idea of them taking gold or other precious resources out of the Vatican, I feel like that's going to have, I mean, there's, I would say billions, perhaps even trillions of dollars worth of values that are contained, or precious valuables in the Vatican, billions or even trillions of dollars worth, right? And that is more than enough to jumpstart a whole new economic system. So this really has been the war. This really has been the fight, because a lot of the alliances, the counterforces, have looked to create a brand new campaign that will bring about environmental transformation, that will start to bring wealth back to the people, right, through programs and so forth. But there's always been that stint. That stint just goes there. There's that pillar that's being pushed down and preventing that train from leaving the station. If that happens, does not matter what the criminal cartels will do, or no matter what happens with them, they can't do anything, right? They're going to completely dismantle, because they will have absolutely zero control of the finances of the world, and they're dead if that happens. This is why it's like they're pushing their cronies in the way, so that their cronies face the fire rather than the big cats that are pushing their cronies ahead. So, oh wait, the Justice League is coming. Right, there's Superman, there's Batman, there's Wonder Woman. Here you go, get him. Right, he's the problem. Okay, that's exactly what's happening. Right, in the hands of justice, they're pushing their cronies in it, because they are trying to save their own lives. The big cats are basically just trying to run away and flee, and they will sacrifice others so that they stay safe, right? And that's exactly what's attempting to be dismantled here. They have to go after the big cats. They have to go after the big guns. They have to go to the ones who are calling the shots. They have to go to the ones in the higher tiers. And what they've been going after is a lot of the lower and middle management kind of guys. I think maybe they are starting to go after some of the big guys right now. But that's really what needs to happen. And until that happens, there's going to be this tug of war between the idea of certain sides about the financial system, because that financial system is their bread and butter. And if that goes, they will have absolutely zero control of the new financial system that comes about, and they're dead. They're dead in the water. If that happens, they are drowning, and they will have no way of being rescued whatsoever. So that is, again, one of the things that they're trying so hard to keep suppressed, because that's really what the counterforces are going for. They're going for this financial system, this brand new system that the criminal cartels will have absolutely no control of whatsoever. But like I said, there's more alliances being formed together with this Russian coalition, with the BRICS alliance. There's so many more countries, there's so many more alliances coming together, and it's just turning into this gigantic animal. Like I said, it's like a gigantic woolly mammoth, so to speak. And then you have these little tiny ants. They're just trying to throw little stones at them, right? That's really the accurate analogy here. The counter forces are so incredibly vast. Not only are we talking about human beings and countries here on the planet, you're looking at the counter forces that are going beyond the planet. You're looking at extraterrestrials. You're looking at interdimensionals. You're looking at the power of spirit. That really represents the nature of the counterforce. For every corrupt force, there is a counterforce that will bring it back into correction. And that counterforce will take any particular measures necessary to ensure that those energies go back into balance. This is why I say, guys, it's not about looking at these hippy-dippy ways of thinking of how we're going to handle this. People are dying on both sides, okay? This is not something where they're basically going to be throwing out rainbows of light and getting these bad guys just to put down their weapons and then just start doing a fairy dance, okay? It's not what this is happening. A lot of people get deluded with that. Think, oh, it's for the light, it's for the light. Well, guys, it's the counterforce, right? The counterforce works with both the darkness and the light, okay? It is the idea of a gradient. That's the counterforce. Counterforce is a gradient. It's not just, oh, there's this white light and hallelujah and all that's no. These counterforces, these alliances will play their game. They will play the game of the dark side. They will basically be as rough as they need to ensure that everything is being brought back into balance. Guys, you need to read the Bhagavad Gita, right? If you have not read the Bhagavad Gita, those of you who have, what was Krishna trying to get Arjuna to do? Slaughter his family. Kill his family that have been completely and totally corrupt, because if they reign supreme, that corruption would spread throughout the land and there would be evil everywhere. And so he told Arjuna all of the deep, secret, ancient teachings within himself that came out of him so that he could perform that deed. Guys, that's what's happening right now. This is the Bhagavad Gita, right? Not only is it something externally pertaining to a war, but it's also being able to quench the war within yourself, right? And you're purging and you're releasing and you are destroying those energies. You are basically in the middle of a war and you're going to move into the heightening of that battle to where everything can cease, because all of that gets destroyed. All of those warriors return back into the Supreme Personality of Godhead to be digested and turned back into something else. That is a very real enactment of what is happening on the planet right now. Everybody think it's love and light, it's love and light and love and light, and love and light is important, right? But again, when you're looking at the counter forces work through a gradient. They are not white hats, right? I hear a lot of people talking about, well, the white hats are guys. They're not white hats, not white hats. You guys saw what they were doing. So, okay, these guys are not white hats at all. No, they're not. But they're a counter force. And they are working together with a corrupt force to balance it out. And the universe will do whatever it takes to turn that around, playing with the gradients of the light and the dark, right? There are basically situations that are unfolding where a lot of these counterforce task forces have basically had to obliterate people, basically shoot them dead. Just like that, 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 to basically try and get a hold of something that will help turn the tide. Okay? These are not white hats. These are counter forces. Okay? Counter forces will play with the entire spectrum. Just as the corrupt forces have basically just played with the dark, counter forces will play with the entire spectrum. If you're playing with the entire spectrum, you're pretty much unbeatable. Right? And that's what's happening. The counter forces are an unbeatable force. Can't be defeated. And that's what's grown over the years. To basically have these armadas, to have these joint task force, which are both human and extraterrestrial together, that are basically hunting down these demonics and slaying them. And I mean that literally. They are slaying them. They are killing them completely. Right? That's why they're not white hats. Okay? But their goal is to bring back balance. That's the whole key to it. And like I said, well, Brad, how can it be brought through war? Well, like I said, it's basically looking at yourself altogether. You've been waging war with yourself altogether, and now you have the strength to stand up over those things and watch all of those things die before you, because those things now no longer inhabit those bodies that poisoned you. They are now being transmuted into something else. When you are able to raise up here and look at the problems down here and are able to shine that light upon it, that body dies. As that body of problems die, that energy gets recycled into something greater. That's what's happening. Okay? You are fighting an internal war with yourself because of all the problems and the conflicts that you have put upon yourself. And when you defeat those conflicts, when you overcome them, those bodies of those conflicts die. And that energy becomes reused into something else, something greater. So that's the idea of you winning a war, right? It's the exact same process that I'm teaching you guys when you are cleaning yourselves out, when you are basically festered with these problems and we go up higher and higher and we say, let them go. Okay, let that all go. Then that problem body dies and that energy gets recycled into something better. You obliterate that problem as soon as you let go of it, right? Now, like I said, I'm not telling you guys to go out and be violent or anything of that nature. But what I am saying is that the counter forces are something different from a lot of people think that they are. And they're not just the idea of good old boys, white hats in that sense. A lot of these guys are ex-communicators of these criminal cartels. They're used to killing people, right? And they have seen the whole idea of something new. And they realize, I don't want to be a part of this anymore. And I'm going to do everything it takes to make sure that we go in the right way. And if that means I have to do all this stuff and then take down these corrupt forces to make that happen, well, that is exactly what I'll do, right? And that's their mentality, guys. So like I said, there's a lot more to the counter forces than even what I've shared, right? And like I said, they are working together to bring balance. But like I said, it's no more different than how you bring balance to yourself when you're doing your inner work, because a problematic body has to die. That energy gets recycled into you and turned into something else. And that's exactly what's happening here behind the scenes. Okay, let's move on. I think we got about time for one or two more questions. I'm going to kind of go down to the bottom of the list now. Okay, we do have a donation here. Okay. Oh, Lila, that's a good one. Thank you for breaking the air. That's great. We need a little bit more cheering up here. Can I get a date with Adronis? Well, why don't you tune into him and ask him? I love that question. Great job. Thank you. Brought a smile to my face there. Okay. There's the question of the day right there. Love it. Okay. Let me just go down. I'm just going a little bit further down here because we're only got time for about one or two more questions. Okay, let me see here. I'm just seeing if there's any other current event questions coming in. I'm just getting a lot of commenters. I haven't got any questions yet from what I'm seeing here at the bottom of the list. Okay, let me just go back up a bit. So we got a lot of questions here. Okay, I think we're going to end with this question here. Okay, this one is from Micheline R. Micheline says, "What is the percentage of Canadian politicians in the counterforces, if any?" Okay, let me take a look at the cards first and see what the cards say, and then I can follow up with that. Depends if we're talking about in front of the scenes or behind the scenes. But again, I'll comment later. I'll try and shut myself up. It's like, Brad, shut up. Let the cards do some talking here. And then I'll follow up. Just can't help it sometimes. All right, let's take a look. All right. So basically what I'm getting from the cards is that the majority of what's happening behind the forces, and I wouldn't say politicians, but basically the forces that are governing Canada are counter forces. Okay, so that is the majority, and a lot of them are basically standing up and basically exploiting the riffraff. What they're basically doing is they're trying to nudge the corrupt to basically pushing themselves towards agendas that would expose themselves a great deal more. Okay. But like I said, there's been a lot of heavy investigation. A lot of them are basically being investigation committees. And they're basically trying to get a lot of dirt on the Castro-Trudeau government, right? The Castro administration. And basically trying to push them out into doing something extremely stupid. And they're really getting close to that right now, right? So this is the whole idea, is that they're egging them on. And you could basically say that the Conservatives are very much in league with the counter forces. Okay, there's been a lot of overhauling going forward, even through the Conservative government. Right, a lot of them have been cleaned out as well too. But it wouldn't surprise me if Pierre Poilievre very much had connections with those counter forces. Right, just with certain people. I don't think he's been approached directly to find out exactly who they are, but they basically still kind of keep themselves in the shadows and say, "We like what you're doing. We're going to give you this platform. Here's something we want you to kind of egg on," right? So they're kind of giving him ideas, and basically they're trying to put the pressure so much on this corrupt government that the egg is going to crack, right? And as soon as the egg cracks, they're able to move in. And that's basically what's happening. So like I said, in the near future, they are preparing themselves for apprehending that government. I basically feel that government, it would not surprise me, I cannot guarantee this, but it would not surprise me if that corrupt government was finished before the end of the year, right? That's not written in stone, right? But that's a very, very high momentum. As far as what's really happening pertaining to the governance of forces behind the scenes, the majority is the counter forces, okay? I would say that pretty much almost in every country, the majority of the forces that are running things behind the scenes are the counter forces, okay? They're just so powerful. They're so huge, right? So this is about the size of the criminal cartel. This is about the size of the counter forces, okay? So you're looking at something that is much more vast, but they don't just run in and just beat everybody up and take everybody out and I'm saying, hey guys, this is what's happening right now. No, that won't work. It just won't work, right? It basically needs to happen through transition. Eggshells need to crack. As those eggshells crack, a new chick is born, right? You have to kind of wait it out a little bit, and you have to play the game of the psychological profile in front of the scenes so as not to create a gigantic ruckus, because that would cause such a ruckus. It would cause distrust with everything, and everything would be a mess. If it is go in, just take out everybody all at once, really, really quickly, and then say, okay, guys, we're the counter forces. This is what's happening. This is how we're going to change the things around. No, they're going to basically be seen as terrorists themselves. It can't work that way, right? It needs to be, again, playing together with the three-ring circus, playing together with the drama. We basically need to exploit these people. We need to push them into the edge. And like I said, my stand on this has always been, these corrupt have already been defeated, right? They're just basically playing out scripts right now. And they're basically getting amnesties in certain ways if they play out what they're being told to play out. Like I said, guys, this is just, none of this is real. None of this is real. None of this is real. What you're seeing in front of the scenes. It's not real at all. If it was real, you would not have a politician like that in power. If it was real, it doesn't matter what kind of immunity they would have. If they were basically violating things legitimately, that person would be X'd out like that. This is why I say they're not being X'd out, because it's a game, because it's a three-ring circus, because it's a stage play, because it's a soap opera, right? And when you look in here, you can see this. This is a soap opera. This is a three-ring circus. This is ridiculous. But it's meant to happen to get people to wake up. That's the most important thing. This is why I say this whole three-ring circus facade that's taking place is a drama to wake people up tremendously. It's to get the normies out of their seats. It's to get the sheep to get up and start buying, right? And now start going off on their own. That's the whole idea. This is a game for the normies. This is a game for the sheep. Okay, if you guys are already awoken, then you guys are helping to be the shepherds, right? So that's something very important to realize. But as far as I can say, in regards to your question, Michelin, very much the counter forces are in charge behind the scenes. Very much so. All right. Thank you, guys. That's going to wrap up our broadcast for today. We had some really great questions from everybody. Thank you so much for that. Like I said, you can just see me sometimes where I'm just like, oh, these people who are sharing this stuff with you, telling you about 5D karma grids and stuff like that. Just, like I said, it really rubs me the wrong way. But like I said, I do my surrendering work afterwards, clear it away. It's all good. But it's a shame. It's a shame that so much of this garbage is online, that 90 to 95% of this garbage is out there, and it's polluting people, and it's just giving so many people so much false hope. There's a lot of good things that are happening behind the scenes. There's a lot of good things that are coming ahead. But people want to try and use these quantum leap concepts, and that's all they are, guys. They're concepts. They're quantum leap concepts to give the impression of thinking that you don't have any need for responsibility. You can just do whatever you want. Just go out and jump off a cliff and be told you have wings so you can fly, right? It's ridiculous. Please be careful with people like that, right? And like I said, you don't have to believe anything I say. You can turn this off. If you resonate with this, great. If you don't, that's okay too. I am not here to preach the gospel to you. I never have. You are always welcome to accept or reject everything I say, because all it is a perspective, a point of view, and I've stood with that for the past 16 years that I've been doing this work. All right. Thank you, guys. Please use your discernment factors. Nobody knows the truth but you. All right. Take care. Blessings to you all. Namaskar, and may it be well with you. Bye for now, and see you next week.